Good afternoon, everyone. For today's video, we're going to discuss about stakeholders define ethical issues in business. But before we start, we must know what a stakeholder is. So stakeholders, it is an individual or group that has an interest of any decision or activity of an organization. Building effective relationship is considered one of the more important areas of the business today. The stakeholders framework helps the internal and external stakeholders. First is internal stakeholders. These are the board of directors, managers, and employees. On the other hand, we have external stakeholders, which are the customers, special interest groups, regulators, and others who agree, collaborate, and have confrontation on ethical issues. In a business context, customers, investors, and stakeholders, employees, suppliers, government agencies, communities, and others who have a stake or claim in some aspect of a company's products, operations, market, industry, and outcomes are known as stakeholders. There are three approaches to stakeholders theory: the normative, descriptive, and instrumental. The normative is an approach that identifies ethical guidelines that dictate how firms ought to treat stakeholders. Principles and values provide direction. Example of this is company defines itself on its stakeholders, like what the company stands for or what is the business of the company. Sa halimbawa nito is yung stakeholders must know that the company's business purpose. Example is beauty product. So stakeholders must know that the product is to give way to everyone to reach the beauty they want to achieve. It assists the interests of the stakeholders of the company rather than just focusing on its profits. Next is descriptive. Descriptive approach focuses on the actual behavior of the firm and usually addresses how decisions and strategies are made for stakeholders' relationships. And the third one is instrumental. Instrumental approach describes what will happen if firms behave in particular way. Example of this is the employees of any company should be treated with respect as they also the stakeholders of that company. They should be given respect and treated with dignity. Individual rights should be protected. The relationship between companies and their stakeholders is two-way street. Stakeholders are influenced by business, but they also have ability to affect business. Stakeholders apply their values and standards to many diverse issues: working conditions, consumer rights, environmental conservation, and product safety, and proper information disclosure that may not directly affect an individual stakeholder's own welfare. Now that we have idea about stakeholders already, we're going to tackle now about ethics. So ethics, what is ethics? Ethics is the principle of conduct that individuals use in making choices and guiding their behavior in situations that involve the concepts of right and wrong. So, sa ethics, dito na pumapasok ang right or wrong o tama o mali na pagdesisyon sa isang sitwasyon. However, business ethics is study of appreciate business policies and practices regarding potentially controversial subject. In a business ethics, dito na pumapasok yung how do managers or owners, stakeholders, or even employees decide what is right in conducting their business. Once managers or owners, etc. have recognized what is right, pupunta naman sila sa tanong na how do they achieve it. And of course, when we talk about ethical business, there's an ethical issues. So ethical issues is a problem or situation that requires a person or organization to choose between alternatives that must be evaluated as right or wrong. Ethical issues arise because of conflict among personal organization values or conflicts with societal values. Sa isang business, hindi mawawala ang isang problema One of those is ethical issues, kung saan pumapasok yung pagtatalo. It's either personal things or behavior na isang empleyado o ng tao sa isang business. In ethical business, there are main ethical issues. These are equity, rights, honesty, and exercise of corporate power. When it comes to equity, we have a comparable work, kung saan mas pinapasahod ng malaki yung lalaki kaysa sa babae. But men and women should be compensated equally for work requiring comparable skills, responsibility, and effort. Equal pay for equal work. The second ethical issue is about the right. Employee privacy is one of the examples. Employees have the rights to keep private facts to some degree of personal facts. Another one is sexual harassment. Unwelcoming touching, patting, or pinching from boss or co-worker should be reported. The third one about ethical issue is about honesty. In honesty, we have misleading advertising. Misleading advertising is unethical because it doesn't provide consumers with all the information they need to make a good decision. And the last is exercise of corporate power. Workplace safety, product safety, and environmental issues are some of our ethical issues.